President and Socialist Party member, Janice Godrich.
Thanks, Chair. Colleagues, comrades and friends, can I first of all thank you for the invite to come along and speak today as President of PCS. Colleagues, being a socialist active in a trade union is at times sometimes a difficult job. There are some quite exciting parts of that role, and some of the job is much less exciting. When I let you know that I'm also a member of the TUC General Council, I'm sure you'll appreciate that this doesn't always fall into the exciting part of the job. However, I have to say that in recent weeks, when we've been battling away in that particular part of the trade union bureaucracy, and you can turn on your television at 6 o'clock in the evening and see the inspirational events that have been happening across the water, particularly in France. And I'd just like to ask every socialist here, beavering away in their trade union, to pay tribute to the comrades who have been an immense inspiration to trade unionists here when we're fighting the type of battles that we're fighting. About the battles that members in PCS are fighting, and of course, as a union, we condemn all the cuts that were announced in the recent CSR and before that. But obviously, in our union, we're clearly focused on how we can defend our members, many of them low-paid women workers, from the draconian effects of the comprehensive spending review. A review that means a reduction of up to 15,000 jobs in DWP, job cuts of 11,500 in HMRC, in the Ministry of Justice, 15,000 out of 80,000 jobs, a cut of 25,000 civilian jobs in the Ministry of Defence. In DEFRA, 5,000 to 8,000 jobs will be cut. Overall, the announcement of the loss of 490,000 public sector jobs, and in addition, cuts of 1.8 billion in public sector pensions and welfare budget cuts to be made, retirement age raising from 65 to 66 in 2020. Now, colleagues, if the mainstream press and media had their way, they'd like us to believe that the agenda of the current government is going ahead unhindered. I think it's absolutely vital that at every event such as this, we send out a strong and unequivocal message that firstly, the cuts are not supported, and secondly, we are ready to stop it in their tracks. 2 weeks ago, I spoke at a packed PCS rally in Edinburgh, which followed a demonstration, not widely reported, of over 20,000 people from across Scotland rallying against the cuts. This rally followed a week of opposition, 2,000 in Bristol, 5,000 in London, 2,000 in Sheffield, demonstrations in Cardiff, Bristol, Newcastle, Birmingham, Leeds. Working people seeing the blood reality of what these cuts will mean, the unequal and obscene way in which the burden is falling on the poor and the vulnerable. And one of the most powerful accounts I heard was from a young PCS member, an admin grade civil servant based in London, who told a packed rally that she saved for 5 years, had no holidays, in order to be able to afford a deposit on a very small place in London. The effect of these cuts mean that she's now facing redundancy, and if she's made redundant, she loses that home. That's the reality of the type of measures that we're seeing coming in. Just one personal tragedy imposed on someone by a cabinet, many who have 3, 4 or 5 homes, who send their children to schools like Eton, where the fees are 1/3 and most of the PCS members earn in a year. Some people, the same people who impose a 2-year pay freeze on millions of workers and then tell us that there's no alternative and we're all in this together. See this point, we're all in it together? You know, that's what they said about the Titanic, that everyone was all in it together. But some people were on the top deck with easy access to lifeboats and getting out. But thousands others were down that places on the faces of people, working people facing redundancy. We can see it all around us in the offices, in the shops and in the bus stops. We are not all in this together. This government is using the economic crisis as a measure to push through policies that they are ideologically committed to. The end of universal benefits, attacking trade unions and workers. And what's the response of the Labour Party? Well, they resort to personal insults. I have to say, Neil Kinnock had a shock when he heard Harriet Harman referring to Ginger Rhoda, but he turned out he was talking about Danny Alexander. And then they can't even get that right, then they apologise for it. You know, these people are not able to defend our members from these attacks. Comrades, PCS has clearly and consistently said there is no need for the cuts, there is an alternative, and we need to organise in order to get that alternative on the agenda. We have to articulate loud and clear that these cuts are unnecessary and wrong. We will continue to say, create jobs, don't cut them, invest in housing, invest in renewable energy, invest in public transport, free up billions by not renewing Trident, free up trillions by coming out of illegal wars. Yes, end the waste in the public service, but end the waste of overpaid surplus consultants lining the pockets of MPs' mates, and the waste of separate pay units. Of 120 billion in evaded, avoided and uncollected tax. In other words, don't attack the poor and vulnerable, attack those who can afford it. Comrades, PCS stands ready to defend its members from these attacks. Not only our members, but the lives of communities and the public services of that our members live and work in. We will be at the forefront of helping to unite all those who want to fight these cuts. We will work to build public sector alliances in every part of the UK. Every announcement of a closure of a nursery, a library or a community centre must be met with the same opposition that met the announcement of every poll tax warrant sale. We must demonstrate publicly wherever we can. Every member of a trade union should go back tomorrow and demand that their union supports the PCS commitment to a national demonstration before Christmas. We cannot let these come in by stealth. We've got to build opposition in our communities, build opposition in the streets, but vitally build for opposition in the unions, for national coordinated industrial action that's going to be necessary to achieve these cuts. Thank you.